technically, this next Facebook friend was on my podcast before, but all it was a 3-minute thing of you doing impressions on command, and I made it an episode. That doesn't count. Now, technically, I don't bring back Facebook friends unless I have another new Facebook friend. So you're going to be the headliner, regardless. I'm going to say it again anyway. He's a Leviathan of the world of arts and entertainment. And this is Jim Meskimen, Jim Ross Meskimen, to be exact. So let's bring
Evan Wecksell.
Yes.
How are you, brother?
Good.
Good.
This input is killing me. Okay. You're going to see in the recording, I'm going to keep like fidgeting with this thing. But good to have you here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot you're doing. You're definitely someone I've looked up to over the years. You're someone who's been successful, and I know this because I was once your personal assistant, and I helped with organizing the income. So that was good. But
Stacking up all. Yes, I remember it. And there's still that $12 missing.
Yeah. Well, Archie took it. Was that the dog?
Oh, you remember very well. Yeah,
that was Archie.
Very likely Archie ate it. Yeah, he was big on eating things that were not dog food technically.
So let's then figure this out. Jim Ross Meskimen, obviously, Marion Ross Yamaza, and so then I never asked you this. Then is the Meskimen something she's been hiding all these years, or is this just your stage name?
Well, Marion Ross is her stage name.
Okay.
But she was married before, and my father was Freeman Meskimen. So she used to be Marion Ross Meskimen, but then they got divorced. So I kept Meskimen because nobody gave me a choice. And I've made my peace with the name Meskimen. It's kind of fun. People like to say it. People like to say, Mr. Meskimen, would you like some more coffee, Mr. Meskimen? There's something kind of bouncy about Meskimen.
What kind of an occupation would a Meskimen be? If you're like, I just got this Meskimen position down at the city headquarters.
I think it's the person that repairs when a wax figure at the wax museum has had like part of their ear chipped off. They're the person on.
Yeah. Okay. So now I've been watching, obviously over the years. I've known your stuff. Some of your credits, of course, Apollo 13, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You were the professor in that.
That's right. Yeah. Good memory.
Do you think you could have, if you hadn't pidged on Will Smith a little bit more, maybe the Oscars thing wouldn't have happened?
I blame myself.
Yeah.
I blame myself. If only he had stayed in my class.
Well, at least we know.
He only went to college for one episode that I know of.
Yeah, well, that's why they never had Saved by the Bell. They had Saved by the Bell the college years. They never had, I guess, Fresh Prince the college day. Yeah.
No. But then he didn't have a big college debt either, so that was good.
That's good. Look, yeah, they didn't have a lot of student debt to forgive.
Yeah, that's right.
And didn't have to put Elizabeth Warren in a stressful situation. Yeah. So we have that, and then we have. I mean, I know there's a whole laundry list of things you've done. Where did the first impulse come to join the arts? Was it through your mom? Was it being on a set, or?
Well, I mean, Evan, as you probably know, I started off as a cartoonist illustrator, and so I first, where I identified as an artist, was when I was very, very little, and I was the kid that liked to draw, and that was my identity, but I did feel, I don't know why, because I guess because I got exposed to plays at a young age. Mom was in plays, and I saw that obviously she acted different. She became a different person, and I think most kids of actors, there's a discomfort in that at first, where you're like, oh, why is Daddy acting like that? Why is he making that mean face? And stuff. Obviously, I got over that, but I did notice that there was something kind of attractive about it, and I did want to perform, and I wanted to sing, and I was pretty nervous about it, and I didn't take to it that easily, but eventually I did kind of make my peace with it, and I would do plays, and I liked to do plays in junior high and high school and in college. And then, but I didn't fully commit to like, well, this will be my job.
Mm-hmm.
I will come hell or high water. I'm going to attack this thing, this career, because I was still riding the fence.
Yeah.
Speaking of riding the fence, I'm wearing this cowboy hat in your honor because
I asked a very specific thing. Yes.
yeah, that's a very specific, which I don't know if I can deliver on, but I can at
That's
least wear
okay. I just wanted it to be something that we can share for that reason.
Yeah. So I was riding the fence though at that time about being a visual artist, and because I was a cartoonist, illustrator, and I trained to be a classical painter, or I trained to be a painter in the classical school. So I didn't make up my mind for quite a while, and then I did eventually decide to become an actor because mainly it was I recognized that I wanted a more social existence than just a painter alone, and rarely seeing people.
And then you also, now to be more social, you began then the impressions as well, so you could be social with yourself in a lot of different beingnesses.
Room full of people, even if I had no company over. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm a lonely guy, so I need to have people around, even if I'm by myself. Yeah.
So then when did, I know like you've always been doing impressions. I mean, I noticed obviously you did it, once we were in the Caribbean, I saw you do it on stage there, but did you then step it up? Like, was it years before America's Got Talent, or has it been since then, or were you always had that wheel of impressions ready to go?
Well, it was a hobby really that developed into a thing where I could work and get certain kinds of jobs.
Yeah.
It's not a hugely lucrative thing. And I didn't want to go to Vegas and have my own room. I never had that desire, really. Yeah. I don't like Vegas, first of all. I like rooms. No problem with rooms. But it actually took me a number of years. We talked about Will Smith. Part of what got me on The Fresh Prince was my doing impressions. If you recall, that teacher did impressions. He did William Shatner, and he did "You Can't Handle the Truth," and that was one of the reasons why they chose me to play that part. But I would do impressions, and then I would create a big effect with them, and then I'd kind of back off because I didn't recognize that was like my strong suit. In other words, it would be the thing that would get me a lot of attention and was kind of like the trick that I should always do. And I would kind of back off and do other things because, I like impressions, but it's not, I want to be an actor, I want to do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until about 2008, believe it or not, that I finally realized, and it took an economic downturn to really make me focus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I really need to work. What is the thing that helps me get work? Yes, this impressions thing. And so I created a one-man show.
That's right.
Started videos. And from the viral videos that resulted from my focusing on impressions, I got all kinds of opportunities, including America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And lots and lots of others, including eventually a TV series that I did called Impress Me.
Yeah.
Is now hidden from the ken of man. It was on Amazon Prime, and now it's mysteriously unavailable.
It's not anywhere.
In my
it's
area,
in your reel.
Which means Earth. Yeah.
It's in your reel. But yeah, I mean, there were some Ross, I forgot, Marquardt? Was that
Marquardt.
He was in it. Vanessa Villaseñor?
Melissa Villaseñor played one of the parts.
Yeah.
Dana De La Russo and
what's the name?
Yacht Michael, yeah.
Yes.
Talented people. Christina Bianco, and tons of really amazing. We found a lot of really great impressionists to be part of it.
Whose impressions did you like when you were growing up? Like, for example, me, I was watching SNL, and Dana Carvey was throwing down like Bush and Ross Perot, but who were your fun impressions you enjoyed?
Well, I go back to when I really was a consumer of impressions. It was back in the olden days, and there was a guy named Rich Little who's still alive today and still performing.
Yeah,
he really was like the god. He was like the Willie Mays of impressions, and I like to point out that he actually had met some of these people. He had been in the same room as John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart and Orson Welles and Kirk Douglas, which gives you a tremendous advantage to actually interact with them in person. Because when an impressionist depends on, all kinds of observing as closely as possible that entertainer. The great Sammy Davis Jr. was an impressionist, a singer when he was starting out, and he also, met and knew Frank Sinatra and many of the other people that he imitated. For us now, it's harder to get to know those people or to reach those people. We're all sort of separated out. But yeah, so I forget where I was going with this. But
well, I remember what I had it at home was he made the cassette tape. It was like celebrities and leaving like those outgoing voicemails.
Yeah, that's kind of the tail end of his career.
So
but he shows in Vegas, and he was on the Tonight Show constantly, and he was like really like the Beyonce of the impressionist world.
He did. I liked his. I remember I had Jack Nicholson, and maybe I don't know if he did Barbara Walters or someone else did Barbara Walters, but I just remember there's a bunch of them that he just side A, side B. We flipped them over. I don't know how exactly we. How exactly that tape had like probably 10 celebs on each side. But now as you do that, then was it because you went viral with that? You did Shakespeare. I mean, you always like you have like a hybrid creative output where it's like I'm not just going to do the impression. I'm going to do the impression, but here's also a poem I wrote. Or I'm not just going to do an impression. Here's the impression, and here they are. Like I don't know, shopping for groceries. Like who know? I don't know what you're coming up with crazy stuff, and then so the Shakespeare goes viral,
right?
Or was it Shakespeare? Was it a?
It was a Shakespeare and Celebrity Voices. It was a speech from Richard III and about 26 celebrity voices, and it did go legitimately viral back in 2011, and that really gave me a huge boost.
Because like I think we were talking at that time, for you to end up on the set of like E! Entertainment Studios without being a Kardashian or a Seacrest, that's remarkable. I mean,
It was really fun. It was super fun, and I got many opportunities out of that.
Yeah.
And I even went to Australia, and I got to perform in Australia, and I was on the Australian Today show. That's another one that went viral, actually, is my appearance on the Australian Today show, where they called me the world's greatest impressionist.
Oh, that's good.
It was, certainly a nice title to be given, if inaccurate, but and just introduced me to tons of people. It was super fun. So I've been able to, since that point, discipline myself. And for the last nearly 15 years, kind of focus in on always, whatever I do, I'm still acting and doing all kinds of stuff, but whatever I do, I don't drop the impressionist personality. And I keep projects going out in that, expressing that talent, because it's a fun magic trick that people like. And you talk about, I do hybrid things. I do write poems and try to figure out ways. I do song lyrics as impressions,
right?
Because impression it's a skill, but you have to do something with it. It's like it's like anything. You play guitar. All right, well, you gotta write a song, or you gotta sing a song. Otherwise, you're
like a one-off.
Here's the A chord. How about that, folks? I'll play that for the next 20 minutes.
Are there some you enjoy personally? Like, do you feel like there's some you're always like improving on, or do you have like a wheelhouse, or they're like all your wheelhouse now because you do them so much?
Well, I have certain ones that are in my wheelhouse that I do again and again. Like Patrick Stewart lately has been one of those ones where I just fall into it very easily, because it's rather pleasant to be Patrick Stewart. It always makes me feel just slightly better than I was before I started acting like Patrick Stewart. I don't know why that is.
And have you done some where it's like younger versions and then older versions? I think, did you do that with like Nicholson?
I did it with Jack Nicholson, because Jack Nicholson, when we first met him, he sounded like this. He had a very of young voice. Now he's like, we don't even hear from him anymore. Yeah. But if we did, I imagine he would sound like this,
like a bear.
Old bear. Yeah. Many of the guys I do, time has not stopped. They're in their 70s, 80s,
but they're still timeless. So
they're still timeless.
They're like songs.
But exactly. They continue on. I mean, I even did a show, Evan, for kids one time, and like grade school kids, and in Florida, and I did the Shakespeare thing I do, where they call out the names, and I do the Shakespeare speech. I change it real fast, and one of the names on the list was John Wayne. Kids called out John Wayne, and I was like, oh, these kids are 9. I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, I don't think they're going to really know too much about John Wayne. But I did, well, is this a dagger I see before me? The handle toward my hand, come let me click. And the kids went crazy. And afterwards, they were like, boy, that John Wayne was really good. I'm like, who are you? Who are you? Pretty amazing. So you don't always know, if it's relevant or not.
So I think they just liked having the different voice. I think, oh, you can do that voice, or you can do that voice. Like, I think it's just sometimes just fun to hear, I don't know, different inflections and tones and pitches. And...
Yeah, they like to see. I think also too, it's like seeing a grown-up act silly like that, or like weird or out of agreement with the grown-up thing. Because teachers have to kind of, all right, I'm only going to act like this. I'm going to talk like this, and this is the way I'm going to talk. Okay, please sit down while I'm talking. They never change, because if they change, all hell breaks loose, right? In the classroom, and kids start going,
So now that you helped found an acting school over the years, like you have the acting.
No, I did not help found it.
Oh, you did not. But you're on board with it. Your wife is that.
My wife founded it with Eric Matheny and Christopher Smith.
Okay.
And I am assumed to have founded it, but I call myself the silent founder because, in fact, I did nothing. They created the school. I am flowing them all the power I can, and I'm actually a student at the school, the acting center.
Okay.
And she's done it all, and not me.
So for those interested, Sherman Oaks.
Actingcenterla.com, theactingcenterla.com, and they are operating now in person and online. They've been online all through the lockdown and doing great, and they're the best acting school in the world, hands down.
And you've done seminars yourself about the biz, and now you're finally bridging over. This is like your press tour for premiering your new movie, except we're premiering a new online course, one of a trilogy, and I made another scene just so people can see it. The working actor method. Where did this come from? Where did the seed get planted?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate the word method, so I'm sorry that it's part of that, but that was the marketing guy's choice. But yeah, this is my online course for being a working actor. I've been a working actor for 35 years. I've made my living only as an actor. Voice actor, live actor, TV, film, a little bit of everything, narrator, it's all acting. Mm-hmm. So I finally collected what are all my successful tips and things that I do on a regular basis and arranged them into a bunch of different little videos that people can get. There's also some PDFs, some ebooks basically that I wrote, one about voice acting, and I even have one about impressions and how to do impressions. So it's a big package there available.
This is the first of 3, though. That's only the acting one.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it's being parceled out. I think, there's, how these things are. There's always a little bit of an upsell. So, hey, if you act. So I know that I know what I did. I created 3 courses at least. And so they are, if you want to find out about them, they're at that website, which is jimworkingactor.com right now.
Okay, because I saw there was the subdomain you had where it was like something.jimmeskimen.com, but no.
Yeah, it's really complicated. It's I think if you go to I've been successful in finding it at jimworkingactor.com.
There you go. So, and again, just as someone who's done online courses myself, hopefully we'll make some. I tried to do like if I was watching the video and seeing the video kind of go out of sorts, but still seeing the layout. I took a course on OBS because I was watching a lot of videos, but to this working actor course, so it's a mix of like kind of like references of PDFs of like things they can do, as well as video instruction lessons, or what's the synopsis of how you put this together?
Yeah, there's a series of videos where I talk about different things like marketing, auditions, different subjects, all the things that I think are essential to maintaining and growing a career over time.
Yeah.
because anybody can be an actor, anybody can get a job.
Right.
The tough part is when you're trying to go the long haul, and that's an important step for any actor, because if you can actually maintain a career and make it grow, you can make it grow very quickly, and you can really ride it to a very high level. If you can't keep it going very long, you can easily be a flash in the pan, and be a kind of an overnight success and an overnight failure. People come and go in this business all the time. So my emphasis has been on conveying to an audience, to people that want to learn, what I did to keep things going and growing over the long haul, and what the things that are most important. And I had a lot to say. I mean, as I've been doing it for so long, I've really learned a lot of things. I've learned things the hard way. I've had many failures.
Yeah.
I've had many successes, and it's been fun. And I've actually been all the time interested in sharing it with other people. And I've been giving seminars for years, and I've been trying to analyze what I do that is successful. And so I've kept track. In other words, I've paid attention. And so I think this course is quite complete in, as I said, is the acting one, and I'm not teaching acting, mind you. I'm teaching how to build a career. Yeah.
What's the biggest departure then that you've covered in the course that actors don't do enough of because they just think their talent's enough? What have you noticed?
I would say most actors have a back off on promoting sufficiently. In other words, promoting in enough volume to maintain the career. And I think if there's anything that set me apart from a lot of my contemporaries at my level, okay, I'm not talking Bryan Cranston necessarily.
Yeah, he's a little below you.
He's a little. He's quite superb. Yeah. But I have always taken the point of view that it's up to me, and taken responsibility for the career, and not waited for someone to approach me or for an opportunity to land from a distance. So and a lot of this I learned from my mom, from Marion Ross. My mom played Mrs. Cunningham on Happy Days. She was a hardworking single mom who raised my sister and I, and was an actress and became an icon. Yeah. So she worked very hard, and she always did plays, and she always hired PR people and let her name be known and did public events, and would reach out and create opportunities thereby. So I looked at that and I went, wow, this is not something. When I heard about other actors that were kind of like, wow, I'm waiting by the phone, or wow, I'm going to the gym a lot and it's not happening, and gee, I never get this and I don't get that. I'm calling my agent and complaining, and like, wow, you're a loser. And they don't survive. They can't keep it going, and they become realtors and whatever else. They can't keep it going.
Nothing wrong with realtors, but sometimes it's not as much as acting. That's all.
Well, that's right, and it depends on what kind of real estate. Now, Josh Brolin apparently is a very successful realtor.
Oh, no way!
And I think he splits his time doing both, and probably makes a bloody fortune doing both, being a movie star and being.
Who wouldn't want to be like it's Thanos? He'll make that house go away if you don't close. Snap his fingers. All right. So then let's try. I'm not one to request impressions, but there's always one I harass you with, and you always you gracefully sidestep it because it's not a widely known impression. But I'm of the type that say I always like things about like certain crossing of streams. Like, for example, my most unique podcast episode was when I interviewed Carrie Ann Wallace and Carrie Ann Wallace. Two people with the same name. So I'm like, why not Jim Ross, Meskimen, impersonate Jim Ross, the voice of wrestling? I don't know how you want to reveal this. I sent you very upsetting material of Jim Ross in a very heightened state. You're wearing I appreciate you're wearing more of a Gold Rush cowboy hat. Yeah. He's a Boomer Sooner from Oklahoma. That's okay.
Yeah, he's got a what's called I forget the name of that style, a quarter horse hat. He's got a quarter
Quarter
horse
horse
hat on.
hat. He's got a good southern drawl.
He's
Yeah,
got,
that's good. Where it's
but
still.
anyway, he gets very, very upset about things. I noticed that the whole thing about wrestling is they're very dramatic and very serious, and when they're angry at one another, well, they let it be known that I don't respect you one bit. You need to just go to blazes and with jets on, and and yeah, and
By God.
I can't fight you. I can't fight you, but I can tongue lash you, and that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to move my mouth very much.
Yes, that was amazing. Good, well, Jim Ross. We'll send that along. We'll cut out the part about it's okay. I know he's probably gets that all the time, but I'm so awkward about that anyway. But that was Jim Ross impersonating Jim Ross, as far as I'm concerned.
It's very meta. The whole thing's very meta.
It's very meta. Cool. So then they can get your course, jimworkingactor.com.
Yeah. Check it out. Give it a try.
I mean, I could
guarantee.
I could probably talk to you for like an hour and a half, but alas, it's bedtime over here, so we have to do all that stuff.
It's bedtime here too. Are you gonna read me a story, Evan?
See, that's not even in like the celebrity list, but that voice is just so unique. Have you done youth voices like that in other projects?
I've done all kinds of stuff, man. I've done crazy stuff, but mostly I do Colonel Sanders, of course, for TV commercials. So that's pretty much what keeps me busy. That's my day job. If I have a day job,
yeah.
I imagine he would have some choice words to say to Jim Ross about watching his language. That was kind of a sore point with him.
What if Jim Ross showed up at Kentucky Fried Chicken and Colonel Sanders was serving him?
Well, let me just, did you say you want the 20-piece bucket? I want the 20-piece bucket, Colonel, because I got a lot of wrestlers I got to feed. They're all in my van. Oh, you do? Well, you should bring them in. I wouldn't mind taking a picture with some of those wrestlers. I don't think you'd want to be with them right now. They smell kind of rank. Oh, that's not very sanitary. I guess. Well, give them these buckets with my compliments.
That's good because it has a bit of a John Wayne flavor to it. And I know he loves John Wayne, so he's a relative cousin to Jim Ross. Then I could go with that. Yeah, okay, very nice, cool. Well, I'm glad we've done a legit interview. Finally, this counts. We're gonna spread the word about your course. And definitely much appreciated. And I look up to you in terms of how you produce and what you stand for. And yeah, I know I'm gonna look into that when you have the voiceover one out. That's always when I've never quite stepped over the third speed bump on that one. So I'm definitely get all my sub products in order and see how that one plays out.
That's a good name. That's a good name for a podcast. The Third Speed Bump.
Third Speed Bump.
Yeah,
that's good. So, you're getting a call from the Third Speed Bump.
Yeah, the Third Speed Bump just.
So yeah, you get the working actor course, then you get the voiceover course, you get the impression course, and then for an extra $50,
and then you get the women, and then you get the power,
and maybe you get like a sample of Jim's blood, just if you want that extra good luck charm, like a rabbit's foot.
Yeah,
there's talent flowing through those veins.
Thanks, Evan.
Right, good deal, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.